Hello, and I got another song review for you. This is for all of us ladies that have been waiting on our God ordained spouses. And the way the Lord has been talking to us about it, it kind of makes us feel a little crazy. This song's for you. Like a glimpse from the past, you conceal the dark. One, some of your God ordained spouses are either a person that you were with in the past, or they're somebody that reminds you of somebody from your past. See, the enemy, when he tried to set you up with your counterfeit, he set you up with somebody that was perfect, the opposite of your God ordained spouse, but exactly their type. So when you got connected with them, or God started to show you them, they were like a glimpse from the past. It's like, God, this person reminds me of. But at the same time, you conceal the dark. The light that is within them helps you feel more comforted in your dark space. I can explain that in so many different ways. I can't even explain how many times I was in a dark place and the Lord brought something in relation to my God ordained spouse that brought me peace in that experience. It brought me peace, and sometimes it made me cry like a baby, and sometimes in those dark places, because I'm like, how am I going to get out of this? You showing me that. You let me hear that, but I'm in this. It was almost a torture. In a frame, you're the poster on the wall. You can see the picture that God's showing you of what He's trying to say that you and your God ordained spouse are going to become. And it's almost the way that He's repetitively bringing it to you. It's like something that's posted on your wall. And for those of you that have been standing for marriage, and maybe you have had sticky notes, post-its, all these kinds of things, that has been your vision board, your thing, the thing that you used as your prayer place, in your prayer closet. It was on the wall. In my dreams, you are the prince at the ball. Do I even have to talk about all of the multiple fairy tales the Lord has been bringing us through? If I get to the end of this and I have, remember, I'm going to get on that. God showed me something. I might make it a separate video. I don't know. Fairy tales, I'm not used to them at all. Those of us that have been walking with God, those of us even before we were walking with God, our lives haven't been a fairy tale in any way, shape, or form. They are anti-fairy tales. But some of us, we write in alignment with certain portions of the fairy tales. Some of y'all are Cinderellas. I know I'm a Cinderella. Meaning, you're that person that lines up everything. You're the one that cleans up everything. You're the one that takes care of everybody else's messes. You're Cinderella. Some of you line up with certain fairy tale people, but your life has been anything but a fairy tale. You didn't get the other side of it. You've gotten the side that was all of this disgruntled mess that had to be cleaned up side of the fairy tale, which was the part before the transition into the palace. You got me questioning, what have you done to me Some of you, when the Lord started to reveal your God ordained spouse, because of who he showed you was your God ordained spouse, like, that can't be right. What are you doing? What are you talking about? And then he started to show you characteristics of that person, which were right in alignment with the thing. Go back and look at my word where I explained how you knew you were being set up to walk into a kingdom marriage story. All the things were lining up to the perfection of the Lord, and you're like, you questioning it because it's like, this is too, what in the world are you doing? What is this is happening to me? I don't think like this. This does not work. This ain't me. I used to be out of reach. How many of y'all, before you got into this kingdom marriage thing, before the Lord started showing you there was such a thing as a kingdom marriage, you wasn't pressed for a man, you wasn't thinking about a man, I'm on my grind, I'm focusing on this thing that I'm putting my hands to. I told y'all, before the Lord led me into this kingdom marriage thing, I had gone to school for being a fashion designer. Then I was running my own fashion blog, and as he started to deal with me in the spiritual sense, and I separated myself from my original fashion blog, I only prayed for that, for the fact of the matter that if I didn't, I probably wouldn't be dating nobody or getting in any relationship. That's why I'm probably not as pressed about it. The only thing that makes me emotionally pressed about it is the fact that God puts him in front of me, but I'm not one that'll sit there and I gotta focus my energy. I gotta focus my energy on this. I gotta focus my energy on this. Where my energy is, I focus on that. I don't sit there and focus on a relationship. I was out of reach. Feel like you're testing me. And some of us do. We feel like the process that the Lord has put us through is testing our ability to focus on what it is that he's given us to do. It's like, are you testing me? Why you keep showing me this, but I can't have it yet? What are you doing? Why am I being tested like this? You know what I'm saying? Those of you that know, you know what I'm talking about. But you're the necessity. Meaning, they're the missing piece in the thing that you're trying to do. I've heard 4 people that I listen to repeat it, that God has lined you and your spouse up, that everything that he's given you and everything he's given them, you're an answer to part of what he's not been able to put his hands to, and he's an answer to what you haven't been able to put your hands to. So you're a necessity to the both of each other, but it's pressing you because the next line is full court pressing you. Some of you, the press is the idea of the attention that you're going to get from the press, because some of y'all are called to influential people, and the attention of the moment of culmination that's going to come from this manifestation of this relationship. It's the unnecessary necessity of y'all coming together. Don't blank this up. Don't let me down. We are over here rooting for our God ordained spouses to come on with it as best as they can. But don't mess it up. Please don't mess this up. You know that I want to be around. If they are feeling you as much as you've been feeling them, they know that you want to be there with them as much as they want you. You tug and war with my heart. Come on now. How many of us have felt like they are pulling on us, especially on the days that the Lord lets us see that it's a spiritual thing going on and their names coming up and all these emotional lovey feelings are coming towards us from them, and it's like, okay, you're tugging war with my heart right here. You're messing with me today. This is not good for me because I can't focus because this is an unbearable feeling. How are you doing this to me? Didn't think I'd ever be so hard. Didn't think that you could ever love somebody this hard. Didn't think that it was even possible for you to feel this hard for somebody else. It's crazy that you feel like you've let down your guard for somebody you don't even feel like you know yet. It's like, what is this? What are we doing here? Why? I'm not even with the person like that. Megan Michelle put a post up yesterday, and it was so in line, and it was so partial that she said yesterday, where she was like, some of y'all not even with your people yet. Some of y'all have been with them before, but some of y'all ain't even with, and you feel the press of it. Because I love it, because if it's love, I don't want to drown. Some of us feel like the way that the Lord has revealed this relationship to us, we feel like we're drowning in the not having it, not being able to put our hands to it, the fact that we want to be able to fully give ourselves to that relationship, but He hasn't allowed us to, because in some ways we might drown ourselves in it. And God's like, wait, I need you with me right now. So I'm going to give you that. But understand, when I give you that, you and I aren't going to have as tight of a relationship. Not to say that you and God aren't going to be tight. It just means that the way that God's going to speak to you through Him is going to be a different connection than you've had of the direct messages that the Lord has given you. I need to hear it from your mouth. A lot of us have been waiting with bated breath for our God today spouses to say something because we need to hear it from them. And they probably thinking the same thing. They need to hear it from us. I can't wait no longer. Tell me now. A lot of us, because it has been so long, we're like, can you please just tell me? Can you tell me? Can you tell me? There's another good song by J.P. Morgan and JoJo that talks about say it. Just say so that I know what I can do now. I might do that one. I don't know when. Don't mess this up. Don't let me down. Such a risk, but I'm willing to take a chance. A lot of us, for the people that the Lord has told us are God ordained spouse, we have risked a lot to even have the audacity to believe that that person is our person. To have even hung on the prayer that this person was the person. When there are so many words that will tell you, are you sure that it was the person that God said that was? Are you sure that God said that was? Are you sure that God is giving you a kingdom marriage? Are you sure that God wasn't just trying to use them as an example and that wasn't the person? Are you sure? Are you sure? And we're like, I'm taking the chance to believe that God actually meant what He said when He said that, because every time I try to let this go, He's consistently confirming over and over and over again that no, that's the one. That's the one. What you think
with my heart sitting in your hands. Gotta learn how to let someone into hold. A lot of us, because of how badly we were burned in our previous relationship, the fact that we would even let our guard down to put our heart in anyone else's hands, that in itself is a miracle. But for them to be allowed to hold it, come on. It takes time going to trust who I let control. Some of us are like, and the way that the Lord has done us, it's like, Lord, I don't even know if I can trust this person. I've never met them. I don't know what kind of caliber of a person they are. I don't know whether they even would trust me. What are you talking about? How are you going to do this? It doesn't make any sense. How can I trust you to take control of? And because of the way that they're going to have leadership in your family life and in marriage, it's like, wait, can I trust that this person is going to be, they're going to be having control as the leader in my household, and you're going to be speaking through, are you sure? Whatever. Um, you got me questioning. And here we back. A lot of us have been questioning, especially in relation to those things, as to what it is that the Lord is trying to say with these relationships. Like, are you sure that this is a safe space for me to be able to trust? What is this that you're doing with me? How can I allow this thing to keep me and allow me to be reachable? And God has been testing you, especially in the areas of knowing that the way that the enemy is going to come at you once you're in the relationship. He's been showing you through the way that the enemy has been allowed to show you doubt, fear, frustration, all of these types of things, because God's been allowing you to be tested in these areas, because they're going to come up when you get in a relationship. They are. Da, 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 da. You got the chorus again. If you really care for me, just make sure you're there for me. We want more than anything for our God ordained spouses, once they come into our lives, to show how they're going to be there 100% for us once they are in our lives. And they have to show it, because we have already fallen in too deep. That's okay. Just rescue. So, has anybody else been having visions? God's been showing me my God ordained self for a long time, where He's pulled me up, whether it be I fell, I slipped, or what have you. And in certain situations, He was the one to come rescue the scenario, pull me up, lift me out of the situation, lift me up from the lower position up to a higher position, pull me out of the car from the sitting position to the standing position. They are the one that will bring about the rescue. Let me know what you want from me. Open up and let me see. A lot of us are hoping that our God ordained spouses are going to be as open with us as the Lord has been open with us about them, so that we know for certain that they are feeling what we've been feeling. I just want to know what your love means. Yet I know where I want to be. We know we want to be with them, but we need to know that they know that we want to be there with them, and that their love is as authentically, uh, unbearably desiring from the same place. And again, the verses: don't let me down, don't let me down. Yeah, don't mess this up, don't let me down, which is pretty much the end of the song. And what I was going to say, well, you want me to say it here? A lot of us have felt like the heroes. A lot of, I'm talking to my ladies that are, we love either Marvel characters or we love superheroes where the female character is in charge. We've loved that. We've always loved that. We love strong, empowered women. We've grown up with that. My mom was a strong person. So that's what I've grown up with. If I knew that I wanted somebody to say anything when I was growing up, I called on my mama. If I had a problem, I had a bully, I had an issue. It wasn't my dad I called on. It was my mother. My mother was like a pit bull. She was like, you got a problem? I'm gonna go take care of it. What you need? Women in my life have been like, yeah, mostly my mother. But yeah. So when it came down to the superheroes, that's where I was. I was looking for a superhero in my life that was a female. And the superheroes that I felt uh, were my childhood idols were Buffy Vampire Slayer, as you know that, which again I'll tell you, her name means promise of God. Because they actually gave you history that her name was short for Elizabeth. Elizabeth was who in the Bible? The woman who um, whose husband couldn't speak until her child was born. But and then when you think about the other Victorian Elizabeth, and all of these were powerful women. Point is that when you think about the Marvel character or a superhero or Wonder Woman or the Vampire Slayer or a hunter or what have you, not to mention I identify with the female lion. And if you research what a female lion is, she was the hunter. She was the one that went out and did. The male lion didn't really do that much. The woman was out there going and taking care of everything. So I align with that. But when you're that femininely empowered, you have the tendency that you don't look for the fairy tale ending to your story. And because of that, you're not seeking to have the happy ending. Most of those cases, the female never got her happy ending. She just always had to fight. Whether there was a guy that wanted to be in that position or not, they just usually could not handle being there. There was only one, especially in the Buffy situation, that wanted to be there. But there was still a blockade between the two of them being able to be together. So it's the element of some of us have come to a point where God is rewriting our love stories. We've seen, all we've known is the strong, empowered woman, and God's saying, no, I need you to become not the damsel in distress of these fairy tales, but I need you to be able to be reachable. I need you to be able to be that female that can balance a man out. You don't need to be, and society has taught us to be that empowered woman. I don't need a man, blah, 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 blah. And because we've had to be so empowered for so many years, God's like, no, in order for me to write this love story, I need you to become the female in this situation, the feminine person. The person is going to walk in this situation, which makes it better and easier for the man to be able to take care of. If you're doing everything and you're not allowing me to allow them to come in, then you're not going to get what you want anyway. Because subtly, subconsciously, we want the man to help take care of us. We want the man to help. We want the man to be the one that we can lean on, because we're tired of having to lean only on ourselves. Or in the case that we're walking with God, only on the Lord. Having the Lord, but also having the human representation, because that's what your husband is, a human representation of what God is and how God sees himself in your life, how God wishes to provide for you in your life. But you have to allow him. God has spent years trying to break off trust issues so that we aren't in that feminine empowered state where we feel like, oh, I got to be the one in power. And God's like, no, in this scenario, you do not. You're okay. You're going to be all right. I got you. This guy's going to have you. You're going to have your happy ending. A lot of us have even rejected the formula of having the big wedding and all of that kind of stuff, because we're like, yeah, I don't even really care for that anymore. Because the fact that we've just been so disgruntled in these years waiting or having to fend for ourselves, it's like, I don't even really need that. And God's like, no, you do need that, because you need to know that you are loved, you are cared for, that you're going to have beauty in your life, and that you deserve to have that. And yes, your family gonna be at the table at that wedding ceremony. The same people that fussed at you, cussed at you, and treated you all kinds of ways, they gonna be there. For I've made a table before the presence of your enemies. They may be there, but they may not be there past that moment. And that might just be how the situation goes. But the Lord is doing that so that he can show that you've reached your kairos, and that you are coming into the manifestation of the things that God's been trying to give you. And you're not just going to be the superhero. You're not just going to have that person, you be the person that's got the superpower, but nobody to stand next to you and share your life with. No, he's giving you the fairy tale ending that in 95% of the feminine superhero stories, they don't get it. They usually end up having to leave the man behind. And if they don't have to leave the man behind, there's a sorrowful ending, whether the female dies or the man dies, and there's something tragic that comes of it. So they usually end up choosing not to be in the relationship to keep that person safe. Somebody was having a conversation the other day about the Hulk and Black Widow, and it was the fact that they wanted to be in a relationship with each other, but because of their differentiations, they couldn't. She couldn't have kids and all that kind of stuff. It's like it's always something that's blocking their happiness. And God's like, not in my story. In my story, you're going to get your happy ending. In my story, you're going to get that ending. But in the concept of the other storyline, there would have to be something that was relinquished and sacrificed. You have to come to an end of yourself. You have to come to an end of having that kind of life or lifestyle in order to be able to step into walking with your spouse. Now, sometimes that superpower that you carry is going to be something that you both carry together. But yes, you're going to have to cover one another. But you're going to have your happy ending. You're going to have it. And it's going to be worth all that you had to do to wait for it. So I hope that blessed you. That's the end of this particular piece of content. Until next time.